everybody, I hope you are doing well. So I thought I would show you first before we go on to today's stitch where I got to. So I've done this section of the stem. I decided to do it from here because I thought it'd be easier to start from there when we move the linen later on. And I was using Phillipa's two-handed stitching technique, and I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm starting to get it, and my aim's getting slightly better with bringing the needle back up. Definitely finding it easier with my right hand underneath and my left hand on top, and I'm right-handed, so I don't know if that's the right way for right-handed or not, but that's what I'm finding easier. When I had my left hand underneath, it slowed me down a lot, and I couldn't get precise enough. So for today, I thought we would do the acorns around here and on here. So for the acorns, it's 2 stitches, and they're 2 stitches we have done before, but I'm going to be looking at the instructions again because each kit comes with the instructions and the drawings on it are specific to that kit. So we get a little bit slightly different sometimes, and you get more insight, I found, from the different instructions. But we're also going to look at Phillipa's videos as well. So are we starting with the top? So we start with the top of the acorn, which we're going to do in the raised satin stitch. So we'll do that today, and then tomorrow I'll give you a sneak peek as to what we're doing. We're going to do the French knots, which is the bottom half of the acorns. Now I'm hoping my French knots on this design, because this is my fourth if you could include the red work rabbit, but the third where we're using different colours. And I'm hoping that this time my French knots might be better, because that's something I've struggled with. But now that we're learning how to stitch with two-handed stitching, I'm hoping I might find it easier. So we're going to start with the raised satin stitch, and I thought we could have another quick reminder from Phillipa on how to do that.
Now we're going to work satin stitch on this acorn in a double thread. I always thread up with a double thread with the loop at the end, and take the needle down, come up through the loop and catch through the loop, and then take your needle down through the hole you've just come up through. Now this linen is bouncing a little bit, so I'm just going to tighten it just by pulling around the perimeter of the frame. I'm actually using a seat frame, so I've got both hands free. There we go. Just look out for the linen and make sure that the lines on the linen are straight, and then you'll see that it's very flat. So that sounds nice and hollow. Quite happy with that. So the first stitch comes up at the base of the area we're covering and goes down over the tip of the acorn shape. So the first stitch divides the area in half. All you do is come up at the base and down over the blue line, covering the blue line. And as you can see in this design, all those direction lines are marked. So you're literally going over the whole shape, beginning in the middle and working towards one side, then carrying your thread across the back and work to the opposite side. You just ignore the little dot on the end of this shape. That's a French knot to be worked later. So these parallel lines make satin stitch, and that's all satin stitch is. It's just one straight stitch. Now the way I'm going to work it on this piece here, which is this design, is in a 3D way to make it raise slightly. The design I'm working on is the Wordsworth cuckoo, and I'd like these acorns to be really raised so that in the end it looks as though I've split an acorn in half and popped it on the top and rested it on the top of the linen. So I've worked a first layer, and I'm going to repeat the sequence working a second layer, but this time I'm only going to go towards the edge. I'm not going to go all the way to the edge. So the centre stitch, and I'm not pulling this down too much. I'm just letting the stitch rest on top of the other stitches. So I'm going almost to the edge but not quite with this second layer. First to one side, then to the other, keeping the direction exactly the same as the first. And then I go back to the centre and work another central stitch. So this is the third layer, and then I'm putting in a stitch first one side and then to the other. Right, am I happy? There's a little dip there, so I'm just going to put in another stitch, and that should make a perfect acorn.
So I've got my double thread and we're going to start on this section here. So I'm just going to do a quick seeding stitch just inside. Oh, that was quite a big one. And then we're going to start here. So it says to put the first stitch in the middle, just trying to make sure I'm over the blue line, because that was something I noticed on my last stitches, on my last kit where I did this. That was maybe slightly too big. So I've just moved the frame, that's the word we're looking for, just because I'm struggling to see, and I think it's best to do it where you have the acorn kind of to the top. I don't know if that's right, but I can see a lot easier. We're going to just come back to the centre and go the other side. Go over that very large seeding stitch which I managed to do, and then we go back to the centre one, and the aim is to try and take the needle up and down through the stitches we've just done. Then we should have that really nice raised effect. I remember from the cuckoo when we did these, it did look really good. Oh, I just lost my thread. So now that we've finished this little top of the acorn, I'm going to go away and finish the rest, and tomorrow we will start on the French knots and we will have some finished acorns.